Thank you for tuning in to the Sole Sistah Sundays with Coach TK's podcast on these internet streets, giving you nothing but the facts about health, fitness, inspiration, and motivation for women, young and middle-aged, and of course, our golden years. We believe in motivating women to go from the couch to the asphalt and being able to run a 5K, which is 3.1 miles, in less than 2 months. This podcast was started as a way to inspire and motivate women to feel confident and look good while trying to get fit and get that sexy back. I know that so many women want to get started but have doubts about their capabilities. Guess what, ladies? I started in my 30s on this running journey. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, let's go! Hello, Soul Sisters. This is Coach TK. I hope you're having a great and beautiful day. It is Sole Sistah Sunday, and I'm bringing you a dose of good information to get you started for your week. So, I want to welcome you to our 6th episode because I am super excited for this content today. We're going to go ahead and remind you that you need to share this with your other soul sisters, your girlfriends, your mothers, your sisters, your aunts, your daughters, or any other woman that you know that could benefit from this information. So, if you know any of those ladies that could take part in our awesome group, go ahead and share this content with them. So, on today's show, we're going to talk about how to go from the couch to running your first 5K with fruits and veggies. Strength training, yoga, water, and so much more. So before we get into that content, let's go straight into our content called What's the Word in Health This Week? Well. Many of you all have probably heard this battle from this Harvard nutritional professor stating that coconut oil is nothing more than poison. Yep. So here's the deal. A lot of people are taking MCT oil because it's nothing more than just coconut oil. And you have a lot of people who are saying that it's good because it increases your metabolism, you burn fat, and it can prevent heart disease. But this particular professor indicated that coconut oil is rich in saturated fats, which puts it on the American Heart Association's list of foods that are better to avoid. Now, some might argue that saturated fats in coconut oil just aren't good for you overall, but they argue that saturated fat is actually healthy. So you have many of the health claims surrounding coconut oil relying upon animal studies or research not intended to test the stuff as part of the human diet. So for instance, you have this one nutritionist, he's a chiropractor and clinical nutritionist, Josh Axe. I've actually followed him and I've seen some of his work. So he's actually claiming that a coconut oil can actually boost weight loss. And the study that he's using is based on them using injected rats with a synthetic chemical resembling the capric acid found in coconut oil. So while these rats did stop eating and they lost weight, well, the side effects or the negative results slowed the animal's heart rates and it lowered their basal body temperature, which is a toxic effect, okay? So you have some that say yes, some that say no. I'll let you be the judge, and I would suggest that you do your own research because I know a lot of people are putting coconut oil on their food instead of using vegetable oil or canola oil, which I would stay away from. But you be the judge and do your own research. I'll leave the link for this particular article at the end of my show. In other news, you gotta watch where you lay. Because science changes every day and so does the rate of new cases for STDs or STIs, sexually transmitted infections. So you have this rare sexually transmitted disease that they have found in the United Kingdom. It's known for destroying genital tissue. The disease called donovanosis was diagnosed in a woman in Southport, England within the past year. Now, they haven't identified her, but they're saying she's between the ages of 15 and 25. Now, if she's between 15 and I would say 19, then we have a problem. Okay? But according to this article, donovanosis is an STD caused by a bacterium called Klebsiella granulomatosis. According to the National Institute of Health, the disease is rarely seen in the United States, with only about 100 cases reported per year, mostly among people who have traveled to or are from areas where the disease is common. Okay? This particular disease is rare in the UK, but it's common in some tropical areas, including parts of India, New Guinea, the Caribbean, Central Australia, and Southern Africa. So let me kind of tell you what to look out for. It starts off as small, painless sores or like ulcers on the genitals. The sores slowly get larger and form raised red bumps that bleed easily. Yikes. As the disease spreads, it can destroy genital tissue and cause the skin around the area to lose color. Ugh. In the late stages, symptoms can look like those of advanced genital cancers. The disease is spread through sexual intercourse, but in very rare cases, it may also spread through oral sex. Symptoms can appear between 1 and 12 weeks after exposure to the bacteria. So you better be careful, okay? Like Cardi B said, be careful. I'll leave this link at the end of the show. Now, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. If you have your hydration on fleek, make sure that you are sipping it all day long. You want to make sure that you have your coconut water. Oops, did I say coconut water? Yes, I did. Your alkaline water, watermelon juice, or whatever your fruit-infused water is, whatever you got, make sure it hydrates you, because you know my motto is stay hydrated so you don't have to be in pain later. You're probably wondering, what do you mean about pain later? Well, check this out. If you don't keep your organs hydrated by drinking plenty of water, your recovery rate for success is slim, okay? Now, if you want to get more tips like this, head on over and join our Facebook challenge. It's going to be going down on September the 3rd, and it's going to be a 30-day challenge to jumpstart your fall nutritional plan, okay? And also your fall fitness plan. So head on over to our Facebook page, and if you're wondering where is this group Facebook page at, click the links down below and it'll take you straight there. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about what it takes to have a total package while running. So you're probably wondering what I mean by that. Well, here's the deal. As a runner, there's more to it than putting on a pair of shoes and hitting the asphalt. You've got to put in the work behind the scenes to get that done. Okay? For instance, when you're working on developing your skill sets as a runner, you may start off as a walker, and from there, you would learn the proper skills in terms of starting to jog. You can use what I call interval training, where the first 2 weeks of an 8-week program gradually allows you to become a walker to a jogger. Now, a walker is just a funny word to describe someone that has a pace faster than a walker, but not quite as fast as a runner. But you're doing something kind of like in between, okay? So, in order to develop this skill, you must use some form of interval training where you will walk for 2 minutes, then jog for 1 minute. Doing this takes the daunting feeling you would have in trying to maintain a certain time frame. You know, because so many people say, oh, I want to be able to run for 1 mile straight without stopping. But it takes time to develop that endurance, okay? And to develop your lung capacity to do that. It takes time. It's doable. But, you know, during this interval training, it also gives you, you know, a sense of accomplishment when you can run for a certain time period before stopping. So in the run community, we call this form of training the fartlek. And now, I didn't say fart it. I said fartlek. Fartlek. It's when you run from point A to point B as fast as you can. So you may say, well, how far is that? The distance is totally up to you. I use this strategy all the time with my runners when we're trying to get them to push past their comfort level. So the fartlek is great for doing that. Now, before you do any of these things I'm going to mention, you want to make sure that you warm up for at least 5 minutes. Like today, I ran almost 5 miles on the treadmill. Okay, the treadmill. And before I got started with my run, I walked for 5 minutes because I was untangling my headphones. I was trying to find my playlist. So, 5 minutes is good to kind of get the blood flowing in your body, get your muscles prepared. Now, you can go for a brisk walk, or you can even jump rope. The point is, you don't want to start out running if you haven't quite warmed up. You could do a little slow jog, if you want to get your blood flowing. But during this particular type of training, with walking for 2 minutes, or running for 2 minutes, you are developing your muscle skills, okay? Remember, your muscles have memory. But also remember this. You use completely different muscles when you walk than when you run, okay? There's a different set of muscles for a variety of exercises. Now, you want to do this minimally 3 to 4 times a week, because doing this will help you with your endurance level. Remember, your endurance is when you can run without stopping and feeling like you're out of breath for a certain distance. Consistency is key. I cannot stress that enough. You want to do this again for 30 minutes each time you hit that asphalt, okay? If you do this consistently for 2 weeks, you will see a difference in your endurance, and the level of intensity will shoot up. Like, guys, think about this. When I first started this journey, I was building my stamina and endurance, and I was doing this 3 times a week. And once I began to enjoy the benefits, I increased that to 4 days a week. This was like I was doing this like on a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And you want to spread it out. Like, you don't want to run back to back, However, Saturday and Sunday, it's okay. Saturdays were my long run days. And then Sundays were the group runs when I would meet my runners. I basically went from the couch to the asphalt, running my first 5K, then a half marathon, and a full marathon in less than 18 months. I did it. I did that. And it was a lot of hard work and training along the way. But this isn't for the faint-hearted, okay? You've got to be committed to running in the rain if it calls for it, even when you don't feel like it. I did that plenty of times, and I'm glad I trained that way because a few of my races were in the rain, okay? Races don't stop because of rain, sleet, or snow. They only stop if it's thundering. My first full marathon was done in buckets of rain. It literally rained for the first 4 miles of my race. My shoes were talking junk because the weight of the rain in my shoes caused my feet to feel heavy. Then it stopped, and the sun shined brightly, and I kept it moving. So I'll talk about that experience on another episode. Now, as you go on this journey of going from the couch to the asphalt, you will want to incorporate some cross-training as well. Now, cross-training would include yoga, strength training classes, weights, swimming, cycle classes, and even kickboxing. These are just a few ideas that you can incorporate into your running routine. This helps you overall to build your body to absorb all of that pounding that you're going to do each week on the pavement. Now, let me tell you, if you go swimming or do water aerobics, it's actually massaging your entire body, and it's relaxing your muscles, and you will burn more calories while you're incorporating strength training. And keep in mind, too, that your increased lean muscle mass will improve your running performance. So you'll be able to run faster and longer and pump up your calorie burn when running. I can attest to this because I've been doing cycle classes for 2 years now, and I enjoy it. I used to do it a long time ago, then I stopped, but then I got back into it. And it has actually helped me with that fast twitch muscles in my quads. It actually allows me to be able to run up hills when I don't like to run hills. But doing cycle classes actually helps that. Now, keep in mind that strength training also helps prevent running injuries, so you'll be able to maintain your commitment to exercising by staying injury-free, because that's going to be very important that you don't get injured while on this journey, because once you go down, you're down for a moment, and sometimes it's hard to get back up, but we don't even want to talk about running injuries if you just do the things I'm going to kind of talk to you all about today. Now, again, you don't have to belong to any gym or have special equipment to train at home. Let me give you some examples. You can do body weight exercises, again, using your own body. I do have a YouTube channel that shows you how to incorporate some of these exercises in your weekly routine. But let me give you some examples here. You can do squats, lunges, wall sits, heel raises, toe raises. These are all for your lower body. And then for your core work, because you do need to work on your core as part of your running journey. This is like part of that foundation, because if your core isn't in check, your running is going to kind of be compromised somewhat. Now, you can do planks, crunches, and sit-ups. And of course, you'll want to incorporate jumping rope, mountain climbers, burpees to get your heart rate up and build endurance. And you'll notice I've been saying endurance, endurance, endurance. And speaking of which, you'll also want to work on your breathing. That's part of this training process. Some new runners assume that, you should only breathe in and out, in and only through your nose. But you actually want to breathe in through your nose and out your mouth to make sure you're getting enough oxygen to your muscles while running. Taking deep belly breaths can help prevent those side stitches, which is very common for new runners. I experienced that. Okay. Sometimes I experience those side stitches if I eat too close to my run, which is why I don't like to eat anything heavy before going on a run. Because also the other side effect is you may have to poop it out. Because keep in mind that when you eat something heavy and then you're running, that's making the food go down a lot quicker in your digestive system. And before you know it, you're having to go do number 2, okay? Sometimes the key to pushing yourself to run longer is more mental than physical. My homegirl used to tell me all the time, it's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. If you feel yourself wanting to stop, just repeat short phrases along the way like, you got this. Or, don't stop, get it, get it. Yeah, I have to have Uncle Luke on my runs too, because he helps me when I'm going up on, hill inclines and all that. And certain songs on my playlist seem to come up at the right time when I want to stop, okay? You may also want to tell yourself that you're not going to stop until you see a person wearing, let's say, a pink hat. And you may not never see that person, but it's something that kind of gets you to do like mental exercises to keep you going. So follow these mental tips, and before you know it, you'll be passing that 1 mile mark, and you'll be able to move on to longer distance. And look, don't be so harsh on yourself, okay? You don't want to do that. I think that's the biggest thing that people tend to do is they're so hard on themselves. The older I get, the more rest and recovery I need in between my exercises, okay? Again, that recovery period is more critical to preventing injuries. One tip that I gathered is to basically test your recovery by taking your resting pulse each morning before you get out of bed. If your morning heart rate is higher than this average, especially after a difficult run, you may not be fully recovered. You will want to take a day off and do an easy exercise until your heart rate returns to your baseline. Remember, ladies, we're not spring chickens anymore. And once you hit 35, things start to change, okay? You will also want to incorporate yoga and stretching every week. If you don't stretch, you will have problems with recovery. You want to prevent injuries and muscle cramps and tightness and pulled muscles due to a lack of stretching. I know when I first began, I took yoga once a week because it provided me with 45 minutes of stretching that I would not ordinarily do on my own. And of course, all this stretching, all this exercising that you're doing, There's nothing like taking a warm Epsom salt bath. I can't begin to tell you the benefits of these me time bath sessions. Your body will thank you thousands of times over. So on next week's episode, I'm going to discuss the supplements that I take to keep me on the right track. Epsom salt is considered a supplement, by the way, in case you didn't know that, because it has magnesium in it. Magnesium is something that you need anyway. Ladies, magnesium and zinc are two top go-tos for your exercise journey. And I'll talk a little bit about this next week. Because as a chemist and as a college professor, I've been in the lab working on something for my ladies to relax them on this journey. I talk about this all the time with my students too. I tell them, look, magnesium, when we get into that atomic number 12 on the periodic table, it's going to be vital to your overall health. We talk about this a lot because a lot of my students want to become nurses. So I give them these little tips from that, every now and then. I kind of give them some guidance on what they can do to incorporate more water in their lives. Because although I'm dealing with pre-nursing students, they need to know the health aspects also. And it's nothing like having an overweight nurse trying to tell you what to do, but they don't look like the optimal health. Yes, I have a problem with that. But that's another story for another day. When you're on this journey, you will be sore from time to time, and that's okay when you can recover from it. Now, if that pain continues, then it's something else going on. I have a potion that I'm creating to minimize that pain that you feel when your muscles are aching. Now, I'm not talking about severe pain. I'm just talking about the pain that you experience, like the soreness, because you're developing and waking up those muscles that you never knew you had. Okay? So I'm going to be giving you all more insight on this as we get closer to releasing that concoction package. Okay? So as we close out our show, I want to thank you ladies for tuning in to the Sole Sistah Sundays with Coach TK's podcast every week. Continue to turn in every Sunday when we drop the best of the best on our show. I'm your host, Coach TK, and you've been listening to the Sole Sistah Sundays podcast. Have a great day, everyone, and most of all, educate your mind, body, and soul with words and thoughts that will empower you. The library is free. You don't have to have money to go to the library. Malcolm X once said, education is your passport to your future. Soul sisters, get up, get out, and get some knowledge. Be allergic to average. Be allergic to negativity. Elevate your vibe and don't let anyone lower your aura just because they aren't in the right space. Learn something new every day. Don't take my word for all the things I'm telling you. Go do your research. Okay? There are so many resources out there. And always continue to raise your vibe. And remember, you can, you will, you must. Go out there and make it happen, soul sisters. Love y'all to life. Peace.